This is going to be a wild ride. I'm not kidding. I hope you're buckled up. My name's Stephen Cochran.
I'm Elizabeth Cochran.
You're watching End Time Insights. I'm glad you're here with me.
Happy to be here.
Good. Because I'm going to put you to your limits in the sense when it comes to reading.
Oh, geez.
I'm going to be making you move right along. So let's kind of get right on to it. This is going to be rapid fire like the last show, which I want to warn everybody about. If you've not seen the previous show, I advise you to go to CochranMinistries.com. Scroll down on the page till you get to the second video. That'll be the previous show to this. I mean it, folks. Don't watch this show unless you've seen the previous show, because we're going to be discussing a lot of things that happened or were discussed in the previous show. So I've given you your warning. I've warned you, watch the show. Okay. I want to discuss an issue that was created via the last show. And it's going to lead into everything else I'm saying. But the first thing is most of the church cling to the idea and the notion, and it's not even just a notion, the truth that the Bible does not contradict itself. And if there's contradictions, there's got to be a reason for it. And we usually look for that reason because there will be a reason. And I'm of that conviction. I believe, I know the Bible doesn't contradict itself. And so in the last show, all I was doing was showing problem after problem after literal contradiction after problem, and that had to do with when the New Jerusalem came down, or apparently as we were reading, that was the apparent takeaway. And I kept telling you I'm not solidifying it yet, I'm not showing you enough, which we're going to get into a little bit more today, not even all of it. But I don't know what people were doing. I mean, you need to understand this, folks. You cannot have a doctrine if it's going to continually contradict itself. For instance, just to recap real quick, most of the church, most people who teach this believe that the 144,000 are a continuation of God's initial plan with Adam and Eve, where he gave them the garden and the tree of life. And they were supposed to be fruitful and multiply. And that's what the 144,000 are. That's the way most people teach it. And it's true. So I don't even have to sit and debate this. We believe, the church believes, for the most part, almost everybody, that the 144K are a continuation. So therefore, we have them coming down at the beginning of the millennium, and they're going to be fruitful and multiply. But the big problem is as I showed in the last show, in fact, this is almost funny. At the ending of the millennial reign, the way we teach it is where you get the New Jerusalem coming down, and in it is the tree of life. And we don't even know this. This isn't even registered yet. Adam and Eve had the tree of life. The New Jerusalem has the tree of life. But this is supposedly 1,000 years after the 144,000 started at the beginning of the millennial reign and are having descendants and being fruitful and multiplying. But at the ending of the 1,000-year reign, here you now have the tree of life. And there's also this time a river of life, which we're going to get into, because not even Adam and Eve had a river of life.
Oh.
They didn't have a river. So for some reason, there's a river this time, but the big issue, the takeaway, which is almost funny. This is the way we're going to believe. And listen to me, folks. I showed how the 144,000 are human. In fact, you got to understand this. Listen to me. The tree of life, like Adam and Eve were human, is there to extend your life for forever, as long as you didn't sin, and that's the way it's supposed to be. That's what the tree of life is for. But it's in the New Jerusalem, and we're expecting these 144,000 somehow to live 1,000 years to the time when the New Jerusalem is going to come down, and then all of a sudden they're going to have access to it. The tree of life isn't meant for the angelic. Don't let anybody tell you. I'm not even going to go there with this. It's not even worth arguing. Adam and Eve need the tree of life, but not the angelic. And the saints aren't going to need the tree of life either. So don't let anybody tell you this. The tree of life is there for who? If it's coming down at the ending of the 1,000 years, who's it there for? Answer this. I mean, literally, who's the third? Or unless the New Jerusalem isn't coming down, and that's what we were kind of showing repeatedly over and over again, that the New Jerusalem could not be coming down at the ending of 1,000 years, and that's just an in-your-face takeaway if you think about it. But back to the human part, I was showing how the 12 gates are in this 200-foot wall that surrounds the New Jerusalem, which I was saying, what's the wall there for? Remember this? I hope you saw this show, folks. What's the wall there for? What's the gates there for? What's angels posted at each gate there for? Why are they there? If it's at the end of the 1,000-year reign where everybody is cast in a lake of fire, they're in the lake of fire.
Yeah.
Come on, people. What are they? I made a joke. I mean, I can joke about some of this, but it's also serious. What are they going to swim to the shore and they're going to make it the way to the New Jerusalem and they're going to try to get into the New Jerusalem, but there's at least a wall there. Hey, right? They're not going to swim for it. They're stuck in that thing. So again, if it's coming out at the ending of the 1,000 years, what is the wall there for? Why is there angels posted at each gate? The names of the 12 tribes of Israel posted at each gate. Come on, people. This is their access for the 144,000 and their descendants to get into. But at the ending of the 1,000 years, hope you're getting this, folks. Listen to me. You've got the names of the 12 tribes of Israel on the gates to show you they're human. I gave you a revelation. I showed how the 12 apostles are in the wall. The names of the 12 apostles are in the wall, the 12 foundations. And I showed about how, obviously, because the saints become as the angels are, that's scripture, angels don't need gates. They don't need any gates.
They don't need no gates.
They don't need no gates. We need no gates, but people do if there's a wall there. So the point is the angels and the saints, again, they have no gates there. They just go right. We can go right through walls, folks. That's the point. But humans can't. And again, don't tell me that I'm going to need to we don't need to eat, we don't need to sleep, I don't need to drink water in order to stay alive. Humans do. Again, that's the reason for the tree of life and the river of life. Now I want to go back to what we were discussing. We were showing about how I was discussing repeat identifiers in the previous show. I've been discussing those repeatedly. There's a pun for you. And we were reading chapter 7, which I'm going to read a verse in a second, but we were showing how the criteria surrounding the New Jerusalem coming down the first time, because it comes down twice in one chapter.
Yeah.
Discuss this, folks. What's it coming down twice for? I've been showing about how Revelation repeats itself, continually repeats itself again and again and again. So we got the New Jerusalem coming down twice, mere 8 verses between each other. And we were discussing about how the criteria surrounding, these are called identifiers, that surrounded the New Jerusalem coming down the first time. We were seeing these very aspects happening in chapter 7, verses 15 through 17. And we were noting how God's going to dwell with man when the New Jerusalem comes down. And yet, chapter 7, God's going to dwell with man. Mm-hmm. We were noting how when the New Jerusalem comes down, it says that he's going to wipe away all tears from their eyes. And yet, when chapter 7, he's going to wipe away all tears from their eyes. I made a joke. I mean, what is it? Is God forgetting to wipe certain tears? He forgot. They started crying again, making these jokes. Now there's going to lead into rivers of living waters in chapter 7. But yet the tree of life has, there we go, a river, water of life. You got to hear this, folks. If these are fountains, the scripture says fountains of living waters, fountains of river of life. It's the same thing. Fountains, right. Water, river. Unless the rest of the river's filled with mud, it's water, river, living life. Life and living. It's just worded slightly different, but yet that's also in the New Jerusalem. Could you do me a favor? We're going to make this make sense. Could you read for me verse 16? This is a verse we just kind of skipped over. Read for me, if you can do that for me. I'm sorry, I'm rushing right along.
They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat.
I want to make this make sense. We read that as if, okay, God's going to wipe away hunger. Okay, so this isn't for the saints. I want to point this out. Mm-hmm. Saints don't need to eat. And they say, well, they become angelic, therefore that's why he's wiping away hunger. I want to point out one thing. This is more astronomical than I believe we are even contemplating. In the previous chapter, chapter 6, there's the red horse war, and then the third horse, famine, is going to be like it's going to be unheard of, the type of famine that the world's going to experience, because the first red horse war takes peace from the planet, the way it reads. peace from the earth. That's the scripture. Same thing. Peace from the planet is gone. Then we got famine. I'm saying this hunger is more applicable than I think people are contemplating. It also says they're not going to thirst anymore. We're going to show this thirst thing like you've never seen. Better buckle up. It also says the sun will not light on them. Excuse me. I know how you love the sun. In fact,
I need it.
You're worse than Superman. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, no, I need it.
Yeah. In fact, as the days get shorter, you almost could fall into depression if you didn't have your Christmas decorations around the house and everything.
Little intermission there.
So, not having the sun light on you, not even to shine on you.
No.
Matt, get a load of this, nor any heat. What's this about the sun thing and heat? I mean, what and heat? Why not cold? I don't like cold. I would rather have heat than cold. But cold could be just as much of a nuisance as heat is.
Yeah.
It doesn't say heat and cold. It says heat. Not the sun even. Thirst and hunger. I want to show you, folks, I want to show you back to chapter 21 of Revelation. Listen to me. I'm going to show you something, and I'm going to show it happening right in the 7-year period. The verse before the New Jerusalem comes down, which says, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. The verse before that says this, and we all take it to mean, because this happened at the end of the 1,000-year reign, this is where the New Jerusalem comes down, that's where we're taught it. What if I showed you this verse, verse 1, the verse preceding John watching the New Jerusalem come down? And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. That's what John said. We all make that into a utopia. This is the way we're taught it. Listen to what he's saying. I saw a new heaven, a new sky. It's not the third heaven or the space, the second heaven. I saw a new sky. I love the sky. It looks beautiful at times.
Yeah.
We're going to get a new sky. What's this new sky? A new earth. Now, we're not talking about a new globe or anything like that. We're talking a new surface to the earth, along with no more sea on the surface as well. What if I showed you all of that in the 7-year period before it's even up? Before the 7-year period is even up. We think we're going to wait 1,000 years to see. Why don't you read for me the second trumpet, which everybody believes is inside the 7-year period. Read to me the second trumpet, if you will. I'm sorry, did I even tell you? You already know where to go.
Yeah.
Revelation 8, verses 8 and 9. I'm sorry.
Yes. And the second angel sounded, as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed.
Okay. Many people don't know how to make sense of this. The sea is going to turn to blood. Now, it says the third part of the sea turns to blood. Third part of the creatures that are in the sea that have life die. And the third part of the ships are destroyed. Now, I just told you, we're to expect war. Jesus said to expect it. In fact, you see the red horse war that takes peace from the earth in the 2 chapters before this. So you got war. What would cause the sea to turn to blood? I said this on YouTube a long time ago. I wrote this in a book called The Graph. We're not talking blood, folks. That's going to cause, you can kill everything in the whole sea and you wouldn't even get a red tint. If everything just spilled out its blood, it wouldn't even phase the way the ocean looked. Not in the slightest. So what is this blood that's going to cause a third of the sea, a third of the creatures in the sea that have life die, and a third part of the ships if you are in wartime? In fact, in the Gulf, there are a couple hundred oil rigs in the Gulf. And I don't know if you remember this. In 2010, BP had an oil spill and the rig caught on fire and it just became uncapped. It took them about a month or so to cap one silly oil rig. And what was going on along the Gulf? Sea life was dying. They were just coming up on the shores and everything.
Right.
Yeah, so it was crazy. And they couldn't even cap it. One oil rig. You want to throw a few nukes, it's a legitimate military target in wartime, folks. You throw a few nukes down, just a few nukes down into the Gulf, you would have oil spillage like you would have the creatures in the sea that have life, they would die. You would have also, because you got nukes, you would have 1/3 of the ships, if this Gulf's about 1/3 of the sea anyway. Yeah. I don't know if you ever considered this, folks. You'd have the ships destroyed, you'd have the creatures in the sea, they would die. I couldn't imagine hundreds or I can't even imagine any kind of number going off in the Gulf.
Yeah.
We couldn't control it. Read to me read to me the next, give me 1 second, I want to say, read to me the next verses. I think we're going to be talking 10 and 11. I want you to consider, I'm going to show you some graphics, folks, of what the BP oil spill looked like from above. It looked like blood. That's what oil looked like. We're going to get more into this. Why don't you read to me verses 8 and 10, and the next one's the third trumpet, if you can.
The third trumpet. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of water. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter.
Don't sound like it tastes very good if you're dying. Listen to this, folks. Listen to me real quick. Why would the rivers be next? I'm probably have to give you some graphics. If the sea is turning to blood, in fact, let's go back as the Gulf as an example. There are several major rivers that come in, that channel into the sea right there, and they go into America. Now, I know fresh water and salt water does not mix, but they still channel into each other. In fact, one large one is the Mississippi that goes all the way up, and I'll show you some graphics on how the Mississippi channels throughout America. And these rivers channel throughout. And I'm going to tell you, if the sea is turning to blood, and I'm just giving an example, but I do believe this is relating to Babylon, but beyond that, if the Gulf were to be affected with this blood, it would go, oil does not care whether it's seawater or whether it's fresh water.
Right.
It's going to channel right up through, and in this case, I'm saying the Mississippi and other channels, and it's going to affect the rivers. In fact, in that order, sea first, then rivers. And we're talking, again, a third. So a third of the rivers, third of the sea, all this is in the same area, a third, and a third. We're not talking about some different area. I want you to hear this, folks. So the sea, a third of it's going to be polluted. You can debate that, what it is. I'm telling you what it is. Why it's going to destroy the ships, why all the creatures in the sea are going to die, at least a third of them, why the rivers are going to be affected. Why don't you go over a few chapters, and I want you to go to chapter 16. Give me the second vial, and that's going to be chapter 16, verse 3, if you can.
Chapter 16, verse 3.
Verse 3.
All right. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea.
You can't. That doesn't even make any sense to anybody. That makes absolutely no sense to anything we've ever heard. The sea, we're not talking a third, not a percentage. We're not talking 25% of it or half of it or 90% of it. The sea. Did it really say that? And it became the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea? Every living soul. So let me clarify this. You've got every living soul in the sea that has life is dead.
Right.
That doesn't make, how does that happen? Let me give it to you how it happens. It says because it became the blood of a dead man. What is the blood of a dead man? You can Google this. Anybody understand it? People that are in the medical fields who would understand what the blood of a dead man is. Hours, actually minutes, it really begins immediately. But within hour 6, hour 8, hour 12, the blood of a dead man coagulates. Coagulates. It begins to thicken. You think honey's thick? This begins to thicken, and as time goes on, it gets harder and harder. Immediately, it starts changing into a reddish, the red tint goes away, and it becomes like a darkened purple. You can look this up, folks. This is the blood of a dead man. So if you were to have the sea no longer liquid, but coagulating and becoming thicker and thicker, everything that's in it is going to die. That's insane. So he's saying it becomes the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. Folks, we're not even out of the 7-year period. I don't even care where you think this is happening. These are in the vials, and I'm going to tell you that's the last half of the week. But my point is this: no matter what your doctrine is, this is in the 7-year period. And there's already no sea. And we don't even understand the ramifications. Could you do me a favor and read for me? I think we're going to go to the third vial, go to verse 4. If you read to me verse 4.
And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood.
It wasn't even specific, just all rivers, wasn't it? Again, we weren't just this third of the thing, 50% of the thing, 90%. We had First, the sea turns to blood. Every living thing in it dies. Now we got all rivers. So without it being specific, it's basically all the sea, all the rivers. Folks, I want you to get this. Now we're talking again, we talked the whole sea, now we're talking all rivers. Which again, that's the order it would be in. I guess every other continent is similar to what I just showed you on the Gulf going into America. If there's a continent and it's next to the ocean, it's going to channel, they'll channel into each other. So the sea is going to become blood, and then we got rivers becoming blood, and there's no more water. In fact, do me a favor, will you read the next verses that follow, verses 5 and 6, please?
And I heard the angel of the waters say, Thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and was and shalt be, because thou hast judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy.
Blood. So now mankind, for some reason, is enjoying drinking this mixture.
Oi.
This isn't, folks, this is not blood. Okay, again, there's not enough blood or even anything underneath it. This, in fact, the example I gave, again, of the BP oil spill, how fast that spread, how much havoc one oil rig did. Yeah. And get a load of this. We just got done seeing first it's a third of the sea, third of the life, third of the ships. Mere years later, just a little bit later. I'm not going to get into the specifics of this vial, this second and third vial, but I'm going to tell you it's still in the week. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? This is still in the 7-year period. We haven't exited the 7-year period, and we've already got this, and now there's everything in the sea's dead. Men are drinking this stuff, and they're dying. Throughout the world, folks, there's no more sea. And yeah, it's all in the 7-year period. And I know you've never heard this. I know you've not been taught this. I'm sorry you haven't. But isn't this starting to make sense why they will not hunger anymore, nor thirst anymore? In fact, if you can do me a favor, read for me the next verse, which is going to be verse 8, and I believe that's going to be, I think that's the fourth vial, is that not? The fourth vial. Read to me that.
Vial, yeah.
Okay.
And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues, and they repented not.
Repented not to give him glory. So the sun is going to scorch men with fire. The sun is going to catch men on fire. And men were scorched with great heat. That doesn't make any sense. Not by today's understanding. And yet, if you were to read information on Google and what other scientists have to say, if you were to eliminate the ocean and the water, the rivers of waters from our world, do you know what would happen? Fires. Let me give you some information. I read these scriptures, and here's a page in my book, The Companion, which is where you can get more, a whole lot more than I'm even giving you right here. Mankind actually reaps what he's sown. These are judgments of man, war, folks. This is how everything goes crazy. What was intended upon the enemy becomes their own personal judgment, multifaceted. Consider the science. Over 2/3 of the earth is water. 71% is ocean, 3% fresh water. The general consensus, if we lost our ocean, all plant life would dry out immediately. Trees would survive a while, but eventually become so dry, fires would span the globe. In other words, it wouldn't take nuclear warfare to create the scenario. Just eliminate our ocean, automatically we have fires. They'd spew tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, thereby intensifying global warming to unimaginable extremities. The sun would pound the equator, turning it into a furnace with no relief, an issue currently resolved via the circulating ocean currents. Greenhouse gases from the fires would trap the sun's energy close to the ground. Differences between night and day would create a high and low pressure systems, producing insane winds of the Earth's temperature averaging approximately 150 degrees plus Fahrenheit.
Wow.
So when the fourth vial said, power was given to scorch men with fire, and men were scorched with great heat, this should now make sense. Should make some sense to us.
Right.
I'm going to have you read, if you can, read to me the fifth vial real quick. That's going to be verse 10. if you can.
And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain.
What would cause the kingdom of the beast to be full of darkness? What do you think? Lots of cloud cover?
Right, well.
Fog?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Lots of fog came in. No, folks. Yeah, we just understood there's fires and that there would be fires worldwide.
Yeah.
And this is all happening still in the 7-year period. And now we got fires spanning the globe. I had a prophet on several months ago, and he said he saw over America, due to fires, due to the destruction, the skies blackened. That's a quote. The skies darkened. He said both those words. And he also said half of America was scorched. Mm-hmm. He used that word too. And I'm giving you what a prophet saw and also what the Bible says. So we got the skies darkening, not because of there's rain. In fact, I'm going to tell you this. If there is no sea and there is no rivers of water, what do you think is going to happen? Not only do you have more of a need for the tree and the river, which he says he's going to lead them to in chapter 7, but you're not even going to have any water in the atmosphere. None.
No moisture.
If there's no ocean, you have no rain. There is no. I couldn't imagine. It said also they'll gnaw their tongues for pain. I didn't understand the meaning of that until I went through cancer, which is why I have a scar going across here. Went through cancer. The treatments they put me through caused my tongue to where it would become so dried if I would go to sleep and I didn't monitor my tongue. I'd wake up and I couldn't even close my mouth because my tongue was so swollen. Mm-hmm. I had to take a spray bottle and go like this in order to bring my tongue right down so I could close my mouth. I watched a movie called Capricorn 1 one time. O.J. Simpson was in the desert, and he was talking like that. He's talking to himself. Mm-hmm. He couldn't talk. And I didn't understand why he couldn't talk. If you're in the desert long enough, the heat that's there long enough, your tongue begins to swell. This is what happens. But that's this, folks. This is why they're gnawing their tongues for pain, because there is no sky like we've known. There's no ocean. The place is on fire, and this is a need for there to be a tree of life and river of life. And that's why he says they're not going to hunger anymore. They're not going to thirst anymore. Neither shall the sun light on them. You wouldn't even want the sun to touch you.
Oh, man. Mm-hmm.
Nor any heat. This is why. Now, we've ran through this, and we're down to seconds. So you're not going to want to miss the next show, folks, but I've given you enough to show you what Scripture says. It's not what we've been taught. Look for more to come. Until next time, take care and God bless.
Bye.